time as well. With that, may I now invite Dr. Samir Saran, President at ORF, to propose the closing remarks and a vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Shobh. Thank you, Deputy President Paul Marshall Tile. President Mbeki had given me a task at the beginning of the conference to create a summary of the issues we must take forward. Your speech covered it all. I was just sitting there and actually really reflecting on the speech that you delivered today. And literally across 40 different conversations, the various ideas that we produce collectively, you captured in your oration this evening. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We began with drum beats. Who all were here in this room that day when we began that evening? Who all have a blue hand? My hand hurts. We began with the rhythm of the drums. We nearly got it right. But we have got to do better when we have to reform the global governance architecture. There we need to be in sync, and that is the message that is coming out of this conversation, that we are different, we have different geographies, we have different histories, we have different economies, we have a common future. And therefore we must double down and work harder to connect the rhythms that in many ways shape each of our societies, cultures and communities. And that is, I think, the core message coming out of Cape Town this time around. So I first want all of us who are in Cape Town, who are visiting Cape Town, to stand up and deliver a rousing thank you to all our hosts for the wonderful hospitality, for the wonderful music, for the wonderful friendship, and for the wonderful 3 days that we've had. Please stand up and applaud President Mbeki, the hotel, and of course, all of you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. When we began 2 years ago, India was at that point the president of the G20 plurilateral group, and it was, I remember Max who said it, that it was Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one village, the Indian ethic, to Ubuntu, that in all we see our humanity. It was these two ethics that created this partnership between Thabo Mbeki Foundation and the Observer Research Foundation. The world is one village, we are one community, and we walk together. It is also the two towering personalities that have defined modern South Africa and modern India, Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, and their visions and their inspirations to all of us that have helped shape this program. And therefore, it is a natural fit, this partnership between India and South Africa to create this global conversation is a fitting tribute to those leaders who sought a fairer, more just and more equitable world. And this in some ways is a tribute to the aspirations of those leaders for the directions that their people must choose. Before I close, I must mention that through this day, and I can see a full room right now, but through this day there's only one person who's heard every word in this conference, and that is President Thabo Mbeki. He is the only one who has heard everyone, who has diligently given time to everyone who had something to share. And I think that is, for me, the core message out of Cape Town. It is not important to be here on the stage speaking. It is important to listen. President Mbeki listened to all of us. And I think that itself is something we should take back from us. Take back from this conference. We have to listen more and speak less. Thank you, President. I have promised President Mbeki and my dear friend Max, who will speak to us, that we together, the foundations, will produce a call for action that we will present to the Honorable Deputy President and the leadership in South Africa for their consideration based on the rich conversations we have had. Over the next week, we will finalize this and we will make it available to all of you as well. This is something that we must do to take forward the agenda of having these very rich deliberations. And we must individually go back to our countries and impress on our political leadership, business leadership, and community leadership to take heed of the opportunity we have in these dark times to actually bring transformation that is desperately needed. So I hope you take back the Cape Town message with you, and we work in our own individual spaces to build a better world so that when we come back next year, we have something to cheer about. So thank you for being with us this time around, and namaste, thank you, and see you next year.
Max?
My brother Samir there is from Delhi, but he spends in a year, I suspect, 2 weeks in Delhi. He travels throughout the country, and my team thought I'm the most energetic person they know until we met Samir. Thanks a lot, Samir. But Mr. President, Deputy President Mashatile, Excellencies, friends and colleagues, we have come to a pause in an otherwise exciting 3 days of another successful annual Cape Town Conversations. I'm just here to thank each and every one of you for taking time to be with us in these 3 days, sharing your thoughts, your insights, experiences, and hopes of moving the Global South from the periphery to the center of the global agenda. I need to thank once again Samir for providing the leadership to all our teams, providing guidance and direction until this moment. I also want to thank our panelists and moderators for keeping this event as informative and insightful as it was. I want to return to our guest speakers and say to Deputy President Mashatile, we are your partners as South Africa is taking its rightful place as the chair of the G20. You can count on us, sir. I thank the Speaker of Parliament, Ms. Togo Didiza, who opened this meeting for us, and our other speakers, Sanjay Joshi, Nelson Murphy, Park Stau, Minister Chaveni, Prime Minister Tony Abbott, Prime Minister Musa Mara, for all of the presentations and insightful experiences that you have shared with us. I also want to thank the editors and the contributors to the Cape Town Chronicle, because that's the idea of immortalizing the discussions that are taking place. That's a precursor to set out the thinking for this meeting. And as Samir is saying, we will then work out the action plans and other suggestions that we want to share with the G20 leadership. But I must do this, Samir, and repeat what you are saying, and really thank President Mbeki for his generosity of spirit and time, and for the time and guidance that he has provided us, and the questions that he keeps on asking so that we remain on track. I'm glad then, Samir, that we are about to finish the call to action that President has asked of us. But one of the defining features of this year's Cape Town Conversation has been the youth representation. I'm glad that I'm sitting in a room where almost more than 60% of those that are present are the one whose future we are discussing, because I suspect some of us, our future has already been destroyed. We were also quite excited about some of the inputs, Samir, that some colleagues have sent to us in terms of how we can do this thing better next time. It's a demonstration of how many people have actually taken over all of these conversations as theirs. And I'm glad that they feel that sense of ownership. But to all of the delegates that stood up and clapped hands, our Speaker of Parliament, Thabo has already invited all of you to explore the scenic landscape of the Ferris Cape, to visit its oceans, and maybe to hop onto a boat to Robben Island to rekindle the idea of the importance of the triumph over adversity, or continue in this wine route and not overindulge. But understand that despite the difficulties we've been discussing in this room, there's a beautiful world out there to enjoy. So as we're about to disperse and close this gathering that has been sitting in Cape Town for the past 3 days, let us imagine that the masses of the global South are waiting on us as principled and committed agents to live up to the promise of turning decades of hope, deferred dreams, into a practical program that will help turn these aspirations into realities of building a caring and a humane global order. Those that will be traveling back home, we wish you a safe journey. Thank you very much to each and every one of you. Namaste, asanteni sana. The meeting is adjourned until we meet again on the 24th of December 2025, but let the conversations continue. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Max, and thanks, Dr. Saran. I think that's it. Just the last piece of housekeeping announcement. Please do enjoy the city. We have a free evening today, but in case you're back at the hotel in time, we do have some dinner, and apparently there's a band as well. So if you want to enjoy some music in the hotel, you can please join us in the restaurant. The travel desk is there for your airport departures this evening and tomorrow. With that, thank you so much. Enjoy your evening.